Innovation Unplugged from the Alabama Community College System's Innovation Center takes you inside Alabama's workforce development. Join us for enlightening conversations with community leaders and industry experts showcasing experiences, addressing key issues, and celebrating successes in the workforce initiatives across the state.
Welcome back to another episode of Innovation Unplugged, brought to you by the ACCS Innovation Center.
Yeah, here we are. I'm Houston Blackwood, workforce director. Sometimes I forget so many titles. I'm actually the workforce director, and this is a fun day. I can't wait. I'm going to go from my left to my farthest left. No, I'll go from my left to the inner left. Yeah. So on my far left, maybe you're right if you're watching this thing. We got Destiny Smith, who's our workforce manager. And we're going to talk a little bit about how some of these roles changed, what we've all gone through. To Destiny's right and John's left is Rachael Lusco. Rachael with an AE, right?
AE.
Yep. Takes me forever to type that in every time. She's the manager of curriculum development initiatives for the Innovation Center, working on the curriculum team. And then from Rachel's right to my left is Mr. John Mullins, senior project coordinator of course development. You guys have the longest, coolest titles. Destiny and I got these 2-word titles. You know, when we started, your boss's title, and she's not here, so we have all right to talk about her. And I don't know who came up with it. It wasn't her who came up with it. It was like director of online learning repository or architecture. I don't know who came up with that. Like, it sounded like she was a librarian, and she didn't like it. And thankfully, they changed it to director of curriculum design. Much cleaner title. So, hey, I'm glad you guys are here, and I'm joking because I've been excited. We're moving into this year, I guess this season. I don't know what season, 2 or 3, and to bring our team on and to make sure that we get good, get all the stories, get all the feels, all the things that make the IC the IC. And so you three are hilarious, and you're all intelligent and super professionals. But this is the Innovation Unplugged, and so it's not quite so tied up with a bow on top, right? So we're here. Now, you guys did a lot of work. This has never happened before. This is the first in this podcast history. Episode 54, we've got, there were going to be funny games, and I was expecting, what's that guy from, little Pat Sajak or Bob Barker? This is more like Price is Right, maybe.
Okay.
But they look, for the listening audience, which is my mom.
Hi.
Hey, Mom. She really was our number one listener for a while. All things, she liked everything. I love it. But they've got so much information here. It's going to be a really good show. We're going to talk about zombies and award ceremonies and TV stars and magic. It's going to be good. So I'm glad you guys are here for real. All right, so let's go from Destiny quickly because we've only got 45 minutes, and Nick will cut us off to make sure it's kind of relevant. So quick rundown of where you came from and how you got to the Innovation Center.
Well, I have an extensive background, and we would be here all day if I gave you my resume, but I've worked in all types of different backgrounds: defense contracting, utilities, customer service, all of the different things. And so when I started out as the workforce coordinator. And so I got to be coordinator for the South region, all of the colleges there. And then I moved to manager of the state. And so now we have a lovely team of 3 that do what I did in the South, and they're great. So we've got a great team.
I'm Rachael Lusco, and I got involved in the Innovation Center after working for 10 years in healthcare. I transitioned from a tech to healthcare management, and shortly after COVID, decided that I needed a change in my career. Kind of got burnt out working in the hospital and managing people, and working for the Innovation Center was something that I really believed in, considering I have a 2-year degree from Trinum State. And so kind of wanted to reach those people that thought they couldn't be reached, or inspire people to go further than where they thought their degree could take them.
Love it. John Mullins, Mully.
Sort of like Destiny, I've got a long resume, so I'll shorten it. My journey began when I was 15 years old and 8 months, going to work as a bag boy. So I was one of those kids that really college wasn't in their cards, but I scrapped through, ate ramen noodles when I couldn't afford McDonald's, and got my degree. So I was lucky enough to go into a management training program, and that transitioned into 15 years of leadership in retail. So I hadn't planned on doing anything other than that really with my life. And one day I just randomly saw a job posting for workforce development. And I'm like, hey, this is a really cool field to get into. So I put in for it, and God lucky I got the job. So I did that for about 5 years. I was the dean of workforce development in my previous state, but around 2 years ago, I got the opportunity to move to Alabama, where I became the director of workforce for Drake. And then last April, I got to be part of the Innovation Center, which has been the best decision in my life, because you couldn't ask for a better team than what we have here.
Did Brandy pay you to say that?
No, I said that on my own. That's all Molly.
Wait, we could be paid?
No.
I wasn't paid.
Brandy, we need to talk.
Yeah.
I got no plugs.
Good. All right. So you guys did a really good job of preparing for this. Much better than I've ever done, or the rest of us. Only one time to ever make notes. So you've got all these cool questions, and so it's been fun to look through them. So first question, and to any of the three of you, first answer. This question was skills for success training, but make it fun. Which of our courses is the best survival skill in a zombie apocalypse?
Oh, that's all Molly. So, you would automatically think that would be CDL or heavy equipment, but the fact of the matter is you're going to eventually run out of diesel, right? So I'm going to go with nursery landscape worker, because that teaches you how to use a hoe, shears, power saws. Man, you can set you up to kill some zombies. So I would be nursery landscape worker for that.
Okay.
Good
Fair.
answer.
Destiny.
Oh, I didn't have an answer for this one.
Okay, Rachel.
We were gonna ride Molly's coattails.
Yeah, for this one, it would be a course that we are not finished with yet, and that's because with this course, you could see from high above, and you could run. You could get where you needed to be. You could get intel.
Oh, intel. It's the drone operator.
Yeah, you could be below ground and get everything you need from up above.
Sneaky. Yep, I can see that about you.
Nursery landscaper teaches you to plant food, though, too. So,
Right.
survival
Sustainability.
skills.
Yeah, sustainability is a big deal.
Have you seen The Walking Dead?
Yes.
They just trample everything, John. They no care. All right, serious question time. So we've done a lot, and this is just for one. Rachel, some part of our filming that's inspired you, some part of the project development, whatever, the person that inspired you.
Oh, well, that would be Roy Lewis. He was who we filmed with for flooring, and he was actually looking into kind of, I won't say retiring, but doing less and kind of handing it over to his son. And I think with filming, I think we kind of inspired him too, because he knew the need. And he went from letting us borrow his warehouse. We actually found him on Facebook. It was a wild story. He was not part of our task force, had no idea who we were, what we were doing. So we got to find him on Facebook, explain all of that to him, go film with him, and after filming with him, he became one of our instructors, which I still have not seen him at a lab. I would like to go and see him because when filming, we had to tell him, it was great. He was your normal dad teaching his son how to do stuff, like expecting you to know what he was doing as he was doing. And I was like, Roy, talk to me.
Yeah.
What are you doing there? And so I think it would be kind of cool to go see him in a lab and just explain and inspire others. So to see him go from ready to retire out of this to finding something new in life that he was passionate about, that inspires me to say, like, hey, it's never really over.
Yeah, I can see that. He was phenomenal in that lab, in the flooring installation lab. I could see him really, I watched him pour into those students like he had known them for their whole lives. It was really cool to see. Y'all did a good job with that course. That was hard. It was a hard course to deliver because it was so comprehensive. Destiny, this is a fun question. If you had to relive your worst work day ever, not even the Innovation Center, just in general, what is one superpower that you use to help through that?
Teleportation.
Oh,
So
gosh. I use that all the time.
I can
wish
get right
could.
out of there.
Yeah, like what's that? Is it Snickers? No, want to get away? Snickers. It's a Betty White.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. Teleportation. John, what about you? I bet yours is funny.
I mean, I would just use the ability to see into the future to know things really aren't that bad now and things get better and that's happening for a reason. But that's me.
That's so
I beg to
reasonable.
differ. I think yours would be invisibility. You would want to be invisible
I didn't
when
think
it's time to go.
I could be.
When it's time to leave work. John?
Yeah.
That's funny. Okay, what would Brandy's superpower be? Because she's not here, so we can do whatever we want. And y'all, two of y'all work for her, so good luck. But what would Brandy's superpower be?
I thought she already had most of them.
She does. Oh, you're such a brown noser. No. Okay.
Everybody's
okay.
getting paid but me, Houston.
So
Brandy's like Thanos. She has all the Infinity Stones, right? So
there was one superpower that she said she wished she could have a long time ago, and I cannot remember what it was. I may have to text her after, and so she can talk about her superpower.
We'll find out. We'll post it in the comments and start a whole argument, and then this thing will go viral. Okay, fun story. That's a funny concept. All right, what's the most unexpected or funny thing that's happened while filming a Skills for Success course?
You want me to go?
Yeah.
All right.
Sure.
So, typically on heavy equipment, we have a pretty standard format. I mean, we've done a ton of those. So we did one recently, and, we had in our head that we were going to go and we were going to have a stationary piece of equipment and film, piece by piece. But what we didn't, or what we underestimated is that we were on a live job site, right? So as soon as we set up, the equipment takes off. So we have to follow the equipment.
Yeah.
And we're walking down the 4-lane for 8 hours, jumping on and off the equipment, taking shots. And we're
Okay,
jumping on and off over hot asphalt.
This is the paver?
Yes. Yeah. So we're jumping over hot asphalt. I got a good workout in, and honestly, I was worried about the footage, but when the footage come back, it's probably some of the best footage we ever got. I mean, 'cause it's such action shots, man. It actually turned out great.
That's like a live game of the floor is lava.
Yeah, well,
Literally, the floor is lava.
I felt like Super Mario Brothers, jumping over lava on the platforms. Like I was Mario, the videographer was Luigi. He was a little bit skinnier than me, so I'll be Mario.
Oh, that's hilarious.
But it was kind of like a live Super Mario. Yeah, it was great.
I could see that. I've only been to filming a couple times. One of them was Excavator when we had to redo that because the first guy checked the tracks without a glove on.
Yes.
So it threw our whole thing in the lurch. But because of that, you changed how you filmed a little bit, and then it became like you're big down to little. Maybe tell us about that, because that was a huge moment, because we were about to launch that course, and then we were like hit the brakes on that one.
Well, there were just a lot of things that weren't really thought about because we're not the experts.
No.
The people we're out there with, they are the experts, the operators. And so we even had to bring in Stan, the safety man. That's how I remember his name, Stan Martin. He came out there and, just tell us the do's and don'ts. And it really came down to our operator, Eric.
Yeah.
Yeah. And him knowing the rules and following the rules and not getting into the day-to-day of just what you would do when OSHA, MSHA, whoever is not on site. And so we took a lot of extra safety precautions. And then as far as, in order to get the best shot, how can we do this without compromising the video and without having somebody out here stopping this and telling us we can't post this? So we were creative and did a lot with the drones. Reagan's great with the drones, so he's one of our videographer members. But not only that, we started using kind of subtitles saying, caution, you would not operate this machine with the door open. Yeah. Things like that. And then took it as far as whenever we were out there filming, we have a set filming plan, but there's all these extra things. And so just making sure that we get snapshots of those, because anything extra we can do as far as videography is concerned, it helps with the courses. Even when it's just kind of tidbits thrown in there, it may not be necessarily something you need to know day in and day out, but it's just something you kind of need to be aware of. Like, this is, I don't know, what XYZ looks like, even though you may not use XYZ daily. Does that make sense?
It does make big sense, because it's so complex and you never know what's going to happen on the filming or the job site or the labs.
One of my favorite instructors, this is an instructor that brought those best practices and it was just really big on safety. And so she went the whole extra miles of having the entire obstacle course set up. She's got dirt piles everywhere, but the obstacle course is so tight that you have to be very good at the heavy equipment to not hit a cone. And so she's standing out there and she's got her bullhorn. And anytime they back up and they hit a cone, she stops them and she tells them whatever safety measures they have to do at this point. If they just hit a gas main, great. You've got to get off. You've got to do all of these things. Call these people to turn off the gas main, do all the things. And you just cost this company $40,000. You know, it brings that real world experience of, why do you care so much when we're in an empty field that I've just bumped this cone? When, you know, really it's because you're never going to be in an empty field on a laydown yard or on a construction site. There's going to be so many things going on around you, like Molly said, where, you know, you've got to deal with all of these real things that are happening. And so that was one of my favorite instructors. She always just brings the real world experience to let them know what they're going to see out in their day-to-day of the jobs.
Which college was that?
Coastal.
Yeah. And that instructor's not there anymore.
She's not.
She moved to New York.
She did.
To drive in the cold.
But only for a little while. We're still trying to court her to get her back.
We need to hire her here. Since she's left Coastal, she's fair game.
Yeah, right.
We should hire her on staff as our resident expert of whatever, driving things.
They will come for us.
Yeah, Josh would come kill me. Okay, so both of y'all just talked about flexibility and adaptability. So you guys are filming, recording, writing, working with all the writers and all the course builders, and you're dealing with all the colleges all the time. Like, not dealing with them, supporting the colleges all the time.
The resource.
You are the resource. So speak quickly to just the adaptability you have to support and to guide the build process and to guide the ultimate theory to lab completion process. What's that adaptability like for you on the daily? Molly, we'll start with you.
Well, you know, Ben, on the other side of it as a workforce director, you see the videos in the courses, right? You see, like, you know, but you really don't know what goes into making that video. You don't realize that we're out there, we're flying a drone, we're doing cuts, we're doing video editing and passing those along to instructional designers. So just the amount of coordination that it takes to make those videos come to life in the course, you just, you don't think about that when you're actually just taking the course of what goes on, you know, behind the scenes.
Sure.
I guess one of the biggest things now is, well, whenever I was out filming a lot, that was more of having to adapt to the scenery. Sometimes we would start at one location, and the next thing you know, we'd have to quit. We'd have to go somewhere else because even though everything was kind of explained and laid out of what we needed, we thought we had everything together. We did not have everything together.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of times we had to be flexible and kind of overcome what we were doing in that situation in order to not have to sacrifice the whole day of filming. And also out there filming, we would have situations where we figured out that something might happen in this operator's everyday life or whatever course we're doing that is not in the course. And so then we have to decide right then and there, like, do we just film it? Do we not film it? And so usually we've stuck with best practices, capture it on film, and let's go back to the task force. Let's go back to the SME. Let's see if we really need this or if it's something that just needs to be mentioned. So really and truly, filming is a big part of the course. It's not just, you know, for visual effects or learning. It adds into making sure that the course is correct and all the necessary information is in there. And now, since I'm not filming as much, I am going to drone though. I'm sorry. Okay. But now that I'm not filming as much, we have to be really flexible and adapt to scheduling the filming because we'll have people that are ready and on board, and something comes up and they would love to help, but next thing you know, they can't. Yeah. And so in order to not slow the process of the course build, we're having to jump on the next one and the next one, trying to keep things going. So just being able to be flexible with not only our time, but their time too. So,
yeah, I don't think people realize how many working professionals we deal with on the daily, either for SME, task force, or instructors or whatever. Like we deal with a lot of people who are doing their thing to make money and feed their family. And we're asking them to take time out to do a little thing with us, which doesn't take long most of the time, and they're getting paid a lot of times when they work on your side. But still, people just don't realize when they see that in course, like how many working professionals touched that outside of our team. We're working professionals too, just so you know, we're all professional. But people don't realize what all goes into that. Really.
No, and if you had to ask me to tell you my job, it would be different every day of the week. The flexibility of that is that we're going to deal with different people every 30 minutes to every hour. It's going to be a different industry that we deal with every 30 minutes to an hour. We're always, I mean, we could talk to 10 different industries in a day. It's just always something new, somebody new. But the good thing and the easiness of being able to be that resource is that this team that was 8, 9, 10 when we started, that's now 21, did a fantastic job when everyone hired of bringing something completely, like everybody has different assets, different, like there's such a wide variety of skill sets that no matter what the question is, the best answer is always in the room. Like it's just, it's such a wide variety. And so that helps a lot whenever we're trying to be flexible and pivot and do all of the things to reach whatever it is we're trying to accomplish that day.
So basically what you're saying is that we're living in a Marvel universe and we're all superheroes.
That's right.
And there's always one that's going to show up and like do something. Absolutely. You're exactly right. I've sat in almost every interview, except for the directors, for all the other folks we've hired. And it's always easy to tell, like I could pick out who we're going to hire because knowing the whole team and knowing what we miss or what. So it's been fun to watch that and then to watch those people grow into their superpower that we saw. Really, and I think that's what it is because there's no script for any of this. We have some best practices, but my goodness, there's no hard and fast way to like figure out exactly what we're going to do every day. And you guys do a phenomenal job making all of that happen.
And that's the hard part about onboarding people is, you say, yes, this is what your job description says. And yes, you will do those things, but you will do so much more. And just trying to explain how flexible we have to be and how the only thing that is constant in our job is that and building relationships with everyone, with the colleges, with industry, with our task force members. It's building those relationships. It's the only thing that is constant. And so when in that hiring process, really trying to read into these people and say, well, who are you? And why do you want to do this? And because, I mean, when there's a drive there to make those connections, to reach those people and to realize that communication is the goal every day. I mean, you just found your new hire, regardless of what anybody says and what paper says. Yeah,
I think that's true. Trusting what you've seen in them in the interview and then giving them the flexibility to live that out.
Right.
I can say when we hired Destiny, we had some really good candidates, and there's some I did not want to say no to. But I was like, guys, if we don't hire her, I quit. And I mean that, but the room said that too. And so we've known that every time, for sure. That's not such a serious question this time. And we're going to start with Destiny, Rachael, Molly. If you had to describe your job using only emojis, what's the first one that you would use? Destiny. Fireworks. Okay.
We've got to use multiple emojis. I'd have a firecracker, a head explosion, airplane, hand claps.
It's a lot.
All of those. Well, that's right, because we're building, we're flying the airplane as we're building it. Constantly doing great things. So that's why we need the hand claps, the explosions, because, I mean, you never know when things are going to pop off. I mean, things are slow for a second, and then all of a sudden, boom, you've got a new project. Now you've got 10 new projects. Oh, okay, how do we make this happen? Well, let's just make it happen.
And that's, I use that a lot whenever somebody brings something to you and they're like, hey, this didn't go the way it was supposed to go. This is a little bit, I messed up here. And it's like, we're flying the plane and building it as we fly it, and that's okay.
Oh, man. Absolutely. Molly.
Well, Rachel's the emoji queen, so she stole all of my emojis. So I would just go to the text chat and type boom where the confetti comes. And so I just do boom confetti.
So you're more of a text effects person.
Yeah, mic drop. Yeah, he's a mic drop.
Okay. Gotcha. I like the one with the head exploding.
Yeah.
Or the fire symbol. Because what we do, sometimes it's like, I didn't see that coming. That blows my mind, and it's awesome. And you just wonder how those things happen. What's the most unexpected thing? So you guys are all professionals outside of this, and then you came here. What's the most unexpected thing that happened that you just never saw coming about working here?
All of it.
Yeah, fair. Very fair.
When I hired in, the things that we discussed on that paper is so, it was not a pin drop close to what all is covered and what all I've gotten to see and all of the things I've gotten to, like, this has been the most amazing journey.
And no one paid her to say that. Just so we know. But you're right. I feel the same way. Like there was a description, but then we get into this. And it's like, there's no way. Like, and people ask all the time, well, what do you do? And I just look at them.
What
like,
don't you do?
They're like, I don't know what to tell you. Like, I'm a makeup artist.
Right.
And you're like, what do you mean? Because it's just like you have to be. It's so crazy. Like the depth and the breadth and the scope and sequence. It's nuts.
Yeah, I had a friend yesterday. I went and visited a few friends, and he specifically asked me, so what is it you do? And I said, well, this depends. Are you wanting to sign up for some courses, or you want to know about my everyday life at work? What do you want to know? I was like, because, if you want to sign up for some courses, I can give you the elevator speech. We can go look. Yeah. We can go look some things up. I can send you to our website, all the things. I was like, but if you're wanting to know about it on what type of, like what scope of work we do, I can send you some WSFA news articles so you can kind of get an idea of what it is we're doing here. I was like, because we're doing great things. I was like, and as far as what I do on a daily, you cannot fathom. So it is interesting, but I think the whole experience has been unexpected. And as soon as you think that you know where this is headed, you're taking a left, and it's for the best. It just builds. So.
Yeah, I guess for me, coming from an outside world, is really knowing all of the steps it takes to build a course, right? Because you don't know what goes into that. So I remember the first time I opened the Monday board, there's over 100 tasks that go into building a course, and you're just like, wow, all that has to be coordinated. But just, surprising about workforce development is you see those student success stories at the end, and like all of that work was, worth it. Like, remember one time we had my previous role, a lady that was getting ready to go to a homeless shelter. She took a CDL course, and now she's making $80,000 a year, with a roof over her head. And when you see that impact in the community, it just really resonates the value of what you do.
So one of the questions on there is a common misconception of our courses. And I think that's a common misconception, is that they're not high-paying jobs. That these are very well-paying jobs. And we have so many companies that we partner with industry that some of them will pay an additional $2 an hour to have these credentials. Like, these are great credentials to have. They're quick, they're free. And sometimes so free is something that always throws people off. And so sometimes I forget to say it because it's so, like, I'm so excited about it that I forget to tell. Like, I give them the whole speech. Just yesterday I was at a conference and I gave them like the whole speech, and their eyes were lit up, and I was like, oh yeah, and they're all free. And they're, what?
Yeah, there's a young man I was on the phone with earlier, and his friend got the CDL through one of our colleges last year, and he's like, hey, my friend told me about this thing. Is it still free? I'm like, yeah, it's still free. Come on with it. So, and he's like, and he told me his whole story, and he's working through some stuff, and that's really good. But we're trying to keep this thing light and fun, but you all probably have seen a student. Destiny maybe more than the others. Was your story was that lady at Drake, or up where you were in Virginia?
Up where I were, it was.
Okay, gotcha. We've had similar stories to that around here, but what's one student, and maybe if y'all know of a student specifically, but like, don't give a name, but like the most touching story that was how the college helped this person so much, like changed their life.
Well, and one that I think of, and they even quit telling this story and quit because they didn't want the person to feel like that was what they were selling, that they were selling that story. They really, the entire college just did it to help them. And there were so many people, when you heard the story where, it was a couple and the young man was living in his car, and so they had to facilitate all of these different things. We constantly work in the gray area, and they did that, and they went out of their way so much to make sure that he had all of the things. And so they would take him, they would transport him on days that he needed it to get to where he needed to go to be able to get this job. And they just did all of the things for so long, for so much longer than just giving the person the course and getting them, on the path. They got him the job. They walked it out until fast forward to where he's in a home. He's in his first home with his family, with a job. But you hear that every day. And that's, if you had to ask me what my favorite part about this job would be, and there are so many great parts, so many great people, but it's how it instantly you can see lives change. Like, it's instant gratification because it touches so many people constantly. And so any day of the week, you can see that it's changing lives right then, right there. It's just so effective.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I think a common, just frankly put, college sometimes isn't right for everybody to start with, or it's not the right time in their life to go to college, right? But that doesn't mean you can't learn a skill. So you learn a skill, you build that confidence, and it lets you know that you can do that. And then you say, hey, I can get my associate's degree, I can get my bachelor's degree. And then it just really propels you to, bust that glass ceiling, I guess.
I heard somebody say at a conference one time, and I wish I could remember so that I could coin them, but they said, college isn't always for everyone, but education is. And I thought that's correct. That's and sometimes it's them not knowing that when people think of it, they think of, the different universities and sitting in this course or in this class all day and it being in this box. But then once they take our courses, they see that it can look completely different. And so sometimes that opens their minds to pathways that they weren't originally on. I know we had one instructor, and this is a little bit off topic, but it was a heavy equipment, and it was at a high school and at a baseball field, a small little area. And it wasn't even, he had to travel to go to it, so the instructor himself didn't know the area. But anyway, there was a girl sitting out on the fence. She had went through the course and everything, and he said, why is she not participating? And I said, well, I just asked her the same question, and she's claustrophobic. And he said, oh, okay. Well, do you mind if I try something? And I was like, whatever works, if it gets her in the course. And so he goes around the building to a side building. I guess when he was pulling the equipment over, he saw one that was an open air cab. It didn't have any windows in it. And so he pulls it around, and he goes to her and he's like, hey, I'm not trying to talk you into doing this. We're okay if you don't, but why don't you just get in it, sit in it, and see how you feel? If you like it, you can go ahead and try to take the course. And she got in it. It worked great. Oh, wow. She loved it. And, that's not to say that at the end of the day, she's going to get a career in heavy equipment. She may not. But what it did show her is that she could approach her issues from a different angle. And so it really opened her mind to different things that you could do. And I was really excited that the instructor took the time to do that. Yeah. We've got some great people out there.
Which college was that?
Chat Valley. And the instructor was from Deep South. Down in the South.
Yeah.
So he had to travel a pretty good way to get there.
Yeah. That's fun. I love those stories. I miss, in the early days, I did your job, but we had like 3 courses. Now we have 50. Right. Thanks, guys. You too. Thanks a lot for that. No, it's been 50 beautiful courses. My goodness. But I miss those stories, much like I missed when I was a teacher going to principal. I missed the classroom time. But I get to live vicariously through y'all. If we had to make a Hollywood-style trailer for one of our courses, which one would be the most dramatic?
CDL. I would think, I was torn between CDL and heavy equipment for this, but I picture CDL, like, you hear the truck starting, you see the buildings in the background, you hear the air horn go off, the truck takes off, dust in the background. You maybe have a Morgan Freeman voice narrating it, and at the end you can say, this is rated D for diesel. And determination.
Okay.
So
okay.
I like that.
Do you think it would be Morgan Freeman or like Matthew McConaughey?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know if all right would fit into that. If it's
I was thinking it'd be Vin Diesel.
Have you ever?
I mean, Matthew McConaughey in a heavy equipment, he could be, because it would be cool to hear, all right, let's move some dirt. But I don't know about CDL.
I don't know. I'm torn. Did you ever read McConaughey's book Green Lights?
No.
Did you? Well, okay, so you probably didn't listen to the audio either. So he read the book in the audio version, and it was like watching Dazed and Confused. It was really good, though. I don't know. So Vin Diesel would be good, Yeah,
Vin Diesel would be cool.
Okay. What about you? McConaughey or Freeman?
I'm the Vin Diesel.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, sorry.
You could also, when they shift gears, put the Fast and the Furious soundtrack in the movie trailer, too.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really hard to shift gears in those trucks.
This all sounds very dangerous. This is not up my league. I did not write that question down. I did not answer that question. I'm going with Vin Diesel, although I do love Matthew McConaughey. So, I mean, we'd have to find a way to incorporate both. Why not? We're innovative. We can do it.
All right.
Well, a long time ago, we had this idea of getting Chancellor Baker. We were going to refilm CDL in general, and we were going to get all the trucks from all the colleges, like a convoy, like Smokey and the Bandit. And then the lead, we were going to get Chancellor Baker to get out of the lead truck. And we were going to try to get rights to Roll On by Alabama. to have that playing. And we actually made some progress because somebody who knew Randy Owens, and of course, the chancellor, and then it just derailed, I think, for time. But also getting all the colleges in one place with those trucks, it was not. But could you imagine that?
That would have been
that trailer. It
fantastic.
would have been really cool. And we actually we'd want to talk to Aaliyah to get them to escort us, like Smokey and the Bandit. But we were always afraid to ask them to do that. Even though they're our friends, we were scared to ask. Okay. Funniest thing ever happened in working in Skills for Success. And maybe we kind of asked this earlier, but it was maybe it was an office day or with a kid, or I've got one from registration with a kid put his name in, but I don't know if I can say that on air. I will say it anyway, but funniest thing that's happened in general.
This one's kind of about me, I guess. Whenever we were doing our professional development, this might have been one of my most publicly embarrassing moments ever, and it was just around my IC family. So it's kind of weird that it embarrassed me, but it did. We were practicing our elevator pitches, and
that was so good. You guys all rocked that, man. That was
God.
such a good. But listen, and I won't finish the story, but I just handed off to the Trend of Today, a conference in Montgomery, like right down from the office. And it was an advocacy group, and I was like, she's got the heart for that, but she's also got her pitch down pretty good, and she's just a good gentle soul. But I remember her being so nervous, and now she's pretty darn good at it.
Well, and let me say this so yesterday I was with her, and usually if you've got somebody else that's done it a little longer, you'll let them do the speeches, and she jumped in there and like everyone she was on it, and her speeches were fantastic. She's so positive. She's great. Okay,
let's get back to the time you embarrassed yourself. Go.
Well, I was not nervous for once. I was good. I was like, yeah, this is great. I got this. And so we were making up our scenarios, all the things. And Houston says, so there's a truck around front and there's a logo on it. What's the logo on the name of the truck? Go get the logo. I thought he was being serious. So I get up from this professional development and go.
Oh, you sure did.
I go around front. And he's like, wait, where are you going? Like, I guess he thought I was just exiting stage left. Okay. And I was like, I'm going to find the truck. I got to go find the truck. And it was really embarrassing. Not really good with I say I'm not. I do my elevator pitch in my own way, which I think we all do. Mm-hmm. And I think you kind of have to adapt it to who you're speaking to.
Oh, for sure.
In the moment. But that's probably the most embarrassing moment. I try to stay away from those embarrassing moments. Also, it takes a lot to embarrass me. So I was surprised. I was surprised that I was like, oh my God, I'm an idiot. And these people know it. They know the blonde is deep. So yeah.
No, I remember that, PD. We sat, my group sat on the front porch of that old auditorium at Coastal's Fairhope campus, and it was kind of hot, and there were some skeeters running around, but it was such a good moment because we were all like watching, and I learned some things that day too. And I can talk to anybody, but watching you guys work through that and learning how to overcome your own obstacles, like really helped me too. It was really cool. But I remember that. It was so funny. Molly, what was your funniest thing?
Building a course or just funniest thing in general?
In general.
I want to tell the AI story.
No. Oh my gosh.
So we had a meeting, and Rachel and two of our other team members were on it, but I was setting out that meeting for whatever reason. So, at the end of the meeting, you get an AI transcript from Zoom.
Oh,
so,
yeah.
I got the email. I was like, well, let's see what they talked about. And it was like, they discussed beauty tips. They discussed Rachel's getting hair growth vitamins, and one of the person uses a flat iron to do her veins and change the color. And I was like, I immediately texted. I was like, how y'all going to talk about hair without me, right? Like, so
you have more hair appointments than us three women combined, and so I'm not sure how you weren't a part of that conversation. I will say this: do not trust Zoom AI. No, it is a liar. It will get you fired.
It will not tell the right things. Yeah. Destiny, funniest thing.
So many. I remember a little while ago being on, and this was like a secondhand embarrassment type thing, but when people are on a Zoom call and they have their videos off, and so and this was an outside person and had the video off, and so the person that's talking, they're talking about sorry, they've got their video off because they're something about their hair. They start talking about their hair, and then they mention something about being bald. And about that time, the other person turns on, and they are, and they're very young and bald. And he was like, "Hey, just so that you know, I have no qualms with this. This is, this runs in the family." And I was like, "Oh no, this sale is not going to go that well."
Well, how did it land?
Yeah, it went well.
Because the product is good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, well, and the guy himself, he had a great personality with it all. Like he was hard to face.
Yeah, bald people, I think, are funny. We had a registration kid one time, high school kid, and he didn't take it serious, and he put his registration name as Fart Face. And so, of course, Sandy was handling that, so she was like, "What do I do with this?" And I was like, "I think you need to email the teacher." So she did, and of course, he's a high school kid. I would have done the exact same thing. So she emailed the teacher, and he tried to kick the kid out of the whole class, the whole program. I'm like, "No, don't do that. Like, it's funny." So, but the kid had to write Sandy an apology email. And it was so good. But what's fun? The funnier part was she said it. She was like, "Hey, I just want to double check the registration and make sure that we're using the right name here," and copied the teacher and the kid on it. And it was like class. Like she murdered that kid in the email. It was so good. So many things. We're dealing with adults. We're dealing with industry people. And like you can get mixed up so many different ways. And it's so much fun. So we're getting close to the end of time, and you guys have all brought so much to the table. Like our courses would not be where they are if y'all had not been here. And I'm gonna say this: like I passed up an opportunity to have you on my team because I knew what you had done at Drake. So I let Brandy have you. I took a
with
team
intent to steal him again. I might add.
Yeah,
That was the worst day of my life doing the interviews for him and everyone, because there were 2 I wanted, and I was like, "Can I please have both or quit?"
Yeah, well, I will still Mully at some point, but I just needed his expertise to go over there because he was a workforce guy. He'd done some cool stuff. So I'll say on record, I'll let Brandy's team have you for a while. But what you guys have done,
and we'll let you believe that.
No, I mean, but you guys have built courses and designed a process. I don't know. I guess maybe like Steven Spielberg can do this, or maybe some really fancy people around the world that build products like ours. But what we have, and being able to hand off all things skills for success in the day-to-day management and support of the colleges. Like I don't have to worry about those things. Destiny. It's like I gave them like I didn't run it, and I get a lot of times, "Hey, we don't worry, we got it handled." Kind of updates, and I'm like, "Well, I don't know what happened, but I'm not going to worry because I'm sure it's handled." But you guys have done such a good job of coming in and like owning what you do and adding to skills for success. We would absolutely not be where we are without y'all. And then you look for that same thing in your own eventual hires. So as we wrap up, like in 1 year, what are you going to toast to? We learned this like on episode 6. We had this thought, and y'all have heard us say this before, but in 1 year, what are we toasting to?
I want to say every day at the Innovation Center, I'm happy to wake up and come to work. And that's a big part of it, man. Having a great team that works around, being inspired by what you do. So I'm toasting to a year of waking up excited every day to come to the IC.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome.
I think I would toast to trying new things and being surrounded by people who are willing to go out on the limb too and try new things.
Absolutely. Love both of those.
And mine's going to be a fantastic team.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't know who we're going to get next. Like, because we just hit 33 or probably 34,000 registrations by like 2:00 today, something. And we probably need more people on the workforce side. We're definitely going to need some career readiness, and I think you guys have a gap to fill. So having those kinds of thoughts and teammates with you, and then not knowing who we're going to get, but knowing that person's out there,
right?
For sure, those are all great things. Well, we're about done. We're going to wrap this thing up. Any final thoughts from any of you?
What is it, Molly?
Uh-oh. No, just happy to be a part of this team and happy to be on the podcast and just inspired by the work we do every day. It's just great to see the impact it has on the state and help people achieve what they want to do.
I will say that I love working with the colleges because it puts you in a space where there are so many people that they're all doing different things, but they're all out there just trying to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
No matter, and that's the same with industry. Almost everybody that we deal with, they're changing lives, and that's great to be a part of.
Mm-hmm. Very true.
I have no final thoughts. If I add more final thoughts, we're going to continue on with this, and they're going to cut us off. So, I have more great things up here, and I'm like, I can't wait to do this again. This will be fun.
Yeah, well, you guys are going to have your shot to have your own episode sometime soon. We've got some slots coming up in the future. So, all right, thanks for listening, folks out there. We appreciate you tuning in to Innovation Unplugged. Remember to like, subscribe, and share on all the podcast platforms. Have a great day. See you soon.